Three men were thrown into a furnace so hot that no one could survive. But moments later, the king saw something impossible. Our story takes place in Babylon, one of the most powerful kingdoms the world had ever seen. Its enormous walls, magnificent palaces, and vast wealth amazed travelers from distant lands. At the center of this mighty empire stood a king whose authority reached across many nations. That king was Nebuchadnezzar. He had conquered powerful kingdoms and built one of history's greatest empires. His power seemed unmatched, and few dared to challenge his commands. One day, Nebuchadnezzar ordered something extraordinary. He commanded workers to build a massive golden statue that towered high above the plains. It would become a symbol of his greatness and authority. When the statue was completed, its golden surface reflected the sunlight across the land. People could see it from far away. Soon, officials, soldiers, and leaders began gathering for a special ceremony. A royal herald stepped forward and delivered the king's decree. The command was clear and simple. When the music began to play, every person in the kingdom was expected to bow before the golden image. Musicians prepared their instruments as thousands waited in silence. The moment the music sounded, everyone knew exactly what they were expected to do. Refusal would bring severe consequences. The music echoed across the plains. Immediately, people fell to their knees. Leaders, soldiers, merchants, and officials all bowed before the enormous statue without hesitation. But among the crowd, three men remained standing, while thousands bowed around them. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refused to lower their heads. Their loyalty belonged to God alone. The three friends understood the danger of their decision. They knew the king's command and the punishment for disobedience, yet they chose faithfulness over fear. Not everyone admired their courage. Some officials quickly noticed the three Hebrews standing among the kneeling crowd. Seeing an opportunity to gain favor with the king, they rushed to report what they had seen. When King Nebuchadnezzar heard the report, his anger immediately began to rise. How could anyone dare disobey a command that had been given to the entire kingdom? He ordered the three men to be brought before him at once. Soon, the three Hebrews stood before the most powerful ruler in Babylon. The entire court watched in silence. Everyone knew that a single word from the king could determine their fate. The king decided to give them one final opportunity. Perhaps they had misunderstood the command. Perhaps they would bow now and avoid punishment. But their answer would surprise everyone present. Without hesitation, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego respectfully refused. They would not worship the golden image. They would not abandon their faith, even to save their own lives. They declared that the God they served was able to rescue them from the king's power. Yet even if God chose not to rescue them, they still would not bow before any idol. The king's face became red with fury. Never before had anyone spoken to him this way. Enraged by their courage, he ordered the furnace to be heated hotter than ever before. Servants rushed to obey the command. More fuel was added again and again. Soon the furnace roared like a volcano, sending waves of intense heat across the area. The three faithful men were tightly bound with ropes. Despite the danger before them, they remained calm. Their confidence was not in their own strength, but in God. As the soldiers approached the furnace, the heat became almost unbearable. Flames burst from the opening, and the crowd stepped back in fear. Step by step, the soldiers carried the three Hebrews closer to the fire. The crowd watched, convinced that this would be the end of their story. The furnace had become so hot that even standing near it was dangerous. Its flames surged outward with terrifying force. In fact, the heat was so intense that the soldiers carrying the three men were overcome by the flames. The furnace showed no mercy. Then the moment arrived. Bound and helpless, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown directly into the heart of the fire. The crowd expected the flames to consume them instantly. No human being could possibly survive such a furnace. At least, that's what everyone believed. Nebuchadnezzar watched carefully. He expected to see 3 men destroyed by the fire. Instead, something unbelievable was about to happen. Moments later, the king jumped to his feet in astonishment. What he saw inside the furnace made no sense at all. The 3 Hebrews were not dead. They were alive! Even more astonishing, the ropes that had bound them were gone. Instead of being consumed by the fire, they were walking peacefully within it. The flames surrounded them, but could not harm them.